Welcome to Gatone Stadium for Vineland High School Millville football. This one officially our Thanksgiving Day, a few days back from the norm. I think the last time was probably 1989 because of some snow we went on a Saturday. I'm Rich Scarpa back in the booth along with Kyle Bennett and Terry Love today. Good morning, fellas.
Good morning. To be here.
Good morning.
So we're going to have all three of us here today, and it's good to be back. It's also great to be back with Kyle, who filled in as I contaminated Terry for a few games. But we've got a good game coming here today. Millville has two outstanding wins this season and have been clicking along, but there's been some up and down for Vineland between the COVID shutdown. They just got on track, and we're starting to play their best football. But this one here all started in 1893. And Terry, you know how much gas cost then? Nothing, because there were no gas stations till a couple years later. And amazingly, all time it's Vineland 67 wins, Millville 62, and 19 horrible ties. Vineland's won 4 straight for the first time since 1943. What are you looking for today, guys?
I'm looking for the big plays on the defense. Before the COVID shutdown, Vineland's defense was clicking on all cylinders. A lot of big names stepping up. I think one guy to look out for today is Deshaun Winchester, junior corner. He's made big plays all season long. He's really impressed me. His size is up there. And, you know, when you have a big guy like Levi Manson opposite of him playing corner, a lot of teams are going to look his way, and he's just out there making plays like a ball hawk. I'm really looking forward to him playing today.
Yeah, and it's real. He's really stepped up. He had some time as a freshman and a sophomore filling in when the D-backs were banged up. Coming into this, Millville 3-4, but wins over number 3 St. Augustine Prep and number 6 Williamstown. Vineland at 2-3, coming off a 3-week shutdown. For Coach Thomas, he's 1-4 versus Vineland in his tenure at Millville, and Coach Russo 4-1 versus Millville. And it's been a lot of back and forth, and somebody really like to hold on for this for a little longer as Vineland looks for their 5th straight, but it won't be easy today.
Line judge is Robert Greco. Umpire is Pat Titus. And the referee is Rich.
Both schools have, of course, a tough schedule as always, playing 3 parochial schools that have been practicing since July. And we're going to have our national anthem. We'll step aside for a second. All right, so we got some players
High School
we need to
Director of
identify going
Security.
into this one. Those of our Vineland listeners have that down, but let's take a look at Millville. And it's Millville quarterback Robbins. Throws the ball a lot. He's 81 for 150, completing 54% of his passes, just about 800 yards passing, and 5 touchdowns. LaQuint Allen, the lead running back and receiver, catching 23 balls, averaging 10.9 a catch and rushing the ball. Not that many yards per carry, and it's not something Millville does up the middle, but he's number 14 in the Old Cape in rushing, but also number 12 in scoring. Opposite for Vineland, it's Gandy, who's been hot. And Kyle, you've been here to see a lot of that transformation from the early games, and I think it all happened at Holy Spirit where he started to take control.
Yeah, Holy Spirit, he kind of seemed to get those first game jitters out of his system, and then a couple slip-ups here and there throughout the way, but that final game against Clearview before the shutdown, he was clicking on all cylinders, finally getting Levi Manson involved in the deep passing game, looking like Odell Beckham Jr. out there. And it's been a very fun progression for him to watch him kind of come into his own as a quarterback and really feel confident moving the ball around and not having to rely so much on just, handing the ball off. And he can use his legs a bit, too, which is a nice element for this Vineland offense.
Yeah, he was much quicker than I thought originally coming into this. Vineland will be receiving the kickoff, and the kickoff usually is about to the 35. That's where right now Vineland has Antoine Rivera sitting, and this one goes deep, though. And it's going to be Manson from the 12. Straight up the middle, looking for a block, has a couple and dives forward just over the 30-yard line. And, Terry, that Vineland offense, we've got in the backfield Anthony Arthur, a back that everybody's waiting for, and the wait isn't because of anything of him. It's just not developed the pass or the run blocking up front.
Run blocking hasn't developed for him the way they hope coming into the season with that senior-laden offensive line. He does, however, do a great job of finding the hole and blasting through whenever he gets the opportunity.
So Vineland on 1st and 10. They're going to have 3 receivers out. And Arthur straight behind, and we are underway and fortunate to get this one in. And
Millville up and Vineland out right off the bat.
Millville got a little bit of a head start there.
Got to be thankful for that one.
Chris Adams, the senior, jumps off. So Vineland will go 1st and 5. And then the Mr. Do-Everything that you've seen, Kyle, has been Tony on offense.
He's been sensational this year. He literally, like you said, does it all. He is the Swiss Army knife of this entire team, offense and defense.
There's a give and a little bit of an opening. Shake and bake. Oh, my goodness. Did that ball come out at the end of there? He drives over into Millville territory, but Arthur's going to lose it at the 46. Well, nice play, though. Good blocking. I was waiting for him to go down a little earlier, but that didn't happen. And as we were talking about Tony, he's 4th in touchdown receiving. And last year and the year before led the team in receiving also. So now it's time for Vineland's D.
Yeah, Rich, and as Millville's offense comes out of here, one thing you mentioned early was that their running back is also their top receiver. Why does that happen? Screen plays. That's what Millville survives off of. Screen, screen, screen. Whether it's a slip screen to one of the wide receivers or a misdirectional traditional screen, that's what you can look for them in their passing game.
So quarterback Robbins gets the late signal in from the side. And it's a real quick 1-2 throw, 1-2-3 throw if they're passing, usually attacking outside the hash marks. And there's a pump fake. Looking to throw it long. It's up in the air and loose. Manson picks it, stays on his feet, heads back to the 30, 35, runs into some traffic and gets it right back for Vineland where they left off. Talked about the pass defense, Vineland being number 1 in the Old Cape, Millville number 4. They defend it well, and there is a breeze that's kind of coming across the field on an angle, but held that up a little bit, as did the pressure.
Tough to match up against somebody with the height of Levi Manson at 6'4". He's got the long length with his wingspan to go up and make a play like that.
Yeah, with that size, your throw has to be dead on accurate. And there, that, like you said, maybe it was the wind, maybe it wasn't. A little bit of air got underneath of that ball from Robbins. Manson gladly found his way under for a nice interception. And
also, when that ball's up in the air, I think everybody's like, boy, if you're Millville, we're at a real disadvantage on that. Breaking the early tackle, just picking up about 1 on that carry. You know you're in good position as you watch Manson lay up for that. So let's talk about up front for Vineland. Center Ojeda, who's a senior at 5'10", 225. Tyrese Powell, senior at 6'2", 245 at the one guard position, with Captain Dave Dutra, 6'4", 260. They're Vineland's 3 interior linemen, anchored on the outside by senior Josh Bennett at 6'2", 240. And the other side, Eli Anderson at 6'3", 240. Anderson also another one of those captains. So 2nd and 8. So give up the middle and a nice fake carried out by Gandy. That holds the linebackers just enough for Vineland to pick up a 1st down now at the Millville 43.
And if everyone noticed there, Arthur came through that hole, both hands wrapped around the ball that time.
Well, this is a nice start to see that Vineland's been able to get yards running. Terry and I drove here together, and we were talking about we think Vineland may be able to move the ball a little bit on the ground here today. Linebackers are a little undersized but quick to the ball, and if we could just get off the ball offensively, it could give some angles. So 1st and 10 in Millville territory, and another offsides.
Just as we bring up the Millville linebacking core, outside linebacker got a little anxious.
Here, Ronald Jamison jumps up.
Ball be spotted at 38 and 1st and 5.
Tight end number 8, Ryan Williams, a senior at 6'2", 225. Running back, Ant Arthur, along with Blakely, who'll be in there a little bit. Garton does the kicking. Cut inside of that. Nice run by Arthur. And the ball's loose again, and a flag on the field.
There's a fumble on the play, and there's a foul on the play. So let them sort this out.
We have to wait and see on the foul. Have a strange feeling it's a little holding on the end of that run. But Arthur turns it over at the 30, and it is a hold on Vineland, which will be declined. Millville takes back over at the their own 30-yard line.
Fumble will stand, be 1st and 10 Millville. Ball be spotted at their own 30.
While I was away, Kyle, I watched everything, and it's not been a problem. Fumbles for Arthur, so hopefully he shakes that off. And they played through some rough weather, and it's beautiful, just a little brisk with a wind. So Gandy's going to have a couple backs alongside him this time. Give to the middle, shifty run. Picks up about 7 or 8.
Millville ball carrier brings the ball across.
Very seldom does Millville bring in a fullback, but when they do, you can almost guarantee it's going to be a running play. And it looks like they're coming out with this series utilizing that fullback.
Kenya German, the fullback, and it was a Quint Allen on the run, and very patient, picking his way through the line. That time he doesn't pick the right hole. He could have had a few more, but it's enough for the first down for Millville.
Millville ball carrier number 1.
Almost seems like Millville coach Thomas just trying to get some flow going offensively here.
Ball spot at the 40.
May see them throw more when they're going the other direction, as the wind now is right in their face. So 1st and 10, fake pitch, throwback, caught. Great job defensively for Vineland.
First slip screen of the game for Millville.
And Eli Anderson all over it.
2nd down, and 11 yards to go for the first. Ball be spotted at 39.
Anderson up there at the nose position right now. Ryan Williams alongside of him. And on the other side, Dutra up front. Lathan Kent, number 30, your inside backer. Nas Butler pressed up to the line. So here's pass. It's thrown out. Oh, and almost picked off by Manson, who had nobody in front of him.
That'd have been an easy stroll to the end zone there.
Well, we got started really, really quick today. We didn't really get to go over these last 4 games, and we'll work them in at some point. But probably the best game I've seen, and I've played or watched them since 1980. The finish of that with Manson deflecting a pass that goes for a touchdown, then catching his own. But right now it's 3rd and short. Vineland needs to make a stop here. LeQuint Allen alongside the quarterback. Pressure. He rolls out. He's looking to get rid of it, floats it into no man's land, and we also talked about that. I wish I would have seen you a little bit earlier.
A little bit of laundry on the field. Davis doing an excellent job there from his middle linebacker position, coming through on a blitz, forcing Robbins out of the pocket.
And Davis, a player that's emerged throughout the year, because our first game really didn't see a lot of him in there. And then now he's leading the team in tackles by 1 over Lathan Kent. Oh, they're calling grounding.
Okay, we'll take that one.
Boy, that's an aggressive call, because the receiver about 15 yards away, and I thought he did enough with it. But the good thing is that's a loss of down.
Yes.
So it's going to be 4th. There, he changed that marker now, so Millville will be punting back from their own 25. Tony back to return, sits at Vineland's 40. And we have 8:13 to go, almost halfway through the first quarter. Short punt.
Short line drive. Oh, fall on it.
Ooh, I turned into a fan there. I didn't want to say anything. I'm like, get on the ball.
And there was
Winchester.
Deshaun Winchester.
There you go. Kyle talked about him
Yep.
earlier, how he's emerged as a player on the field. Being spot on right there.
Yeah, Winchester, as I mentioned, freshman and sophomore year, got really big minutes. I think it was his sophomore year. 3 of the D-backs were hurt, and he was thrown in there and had the opportunity. I coached his father, Johnny, who was a quarterback for us, and just, like, so nice to see him develop. And that extra time now gets you so much more prepared than you would have been. Vineland with good starting field position at their own 49. They've moved it, just turned it over twice. And here's Gandy picking his way through the middle, leans forward. He's going to pick up about 2.
Brings the ball across the 50 to the 49.
Vineland coming out that time in a double tight formation. Didn't see a whole lot of that throughout the year.
I saw an awful lot of that watching Delsey Millville on game film. Boy.
Ooh, from Delsey, imagine that.
Yeah. So 2nd and 8. Arthur has it this time. He looks like he can get wide. Needs a block. Gets a big one from
Looks like he got the
Dutra,
first.
but it was on his own player. He's going to be a little short. It's going to be 3rd and 1.
Held onto the ball, though, and that's what's important.
Yes.
Start to build that confidence. And
Third down and 1
yeah,
yard
3rd
to
and
the
1.
first.
And it looks like they're bringing in the jumbo package here to speak that power backfield in that short yardage situation to get Gandy under center. It's been very effective for him as of late.
Yeah, 2-down territory you would think for Vineland here is their offense is probably averaging 4 or 5 a run. It's just the turnover has been biting them. The offensive line looking as good as they have. At Clearview, they looked really good pass blocking. The officials timeout.
Officials timeout.
As Ronald Jameson's going to step to the side with some equipment issues. Good run. Good run. You know, that's down in distance there because you start that, and if it's first down, you're bouncing that out. But risk reward, you just need to get the first down and a real nice run.
Needed a yard, get it. Anything else is a plus. Go down.
Across the 40, to the 37. And 1st and 10 for the Fighting Clan of Vineland.
So, Kyle, this one's a lot different than the Clearview game that we saw where after a quarter it turned into let's just throw this thing.
Yeah, they're definitely getting the running game involved a lot more early in this one. And I think you look at Millville's defense and just the way Anthony Arthur's been able to pack muscle onto his body over the past couple of years, he's a completely different runner from his freshman year.
High floating snap, that slows the play down a little bit. Not much on that carry.
Arthur the carry.
Yeah, and you still have the outside where you can attack with Levi Manson, Ethan Evans out there, Tony getting out there also. So this should be able to open some more things up. And I don't know weights and ages because at Millville's roster it was impossible to track down. But they're fairly big up front, but the linebacking core is quick and a little undersized. And
They float to the ball.
Yeah, you're mentioning Arthur with the getting bigger, the strong leg drive. That kind of fits into what Vineland wants to do. Gandy's going to take this himself. There's nowhere to go. He's going to try to belly all the way back around, stays on his feet. I don't know how he did that. One hand on the ground. Could have been disastrous. Instead, just a loss of about 3. Yeah, he peeked in 3 different times there, trying to find somewhere to go.
Something, anything open up for me.
If he doesn't post his hand on the ground and stay up, it's a loss of another 4. I will say this, the last 3 years, we've seen a hungry Vineland team versus a Millville team a little lethargic. And Millville's come to play today. And going deep is Gandy.
Overshot Manson.
Yeah, Manson a little stutter step there.
I mean, that's the right thing to do. You have a 6'4" receiver against a 5. We're going to call a 5'10" D-back. So that's definitely the matchup you want to throw to.
It looked like Manson trying to position back on it on the short end, and then it ended up with the wind carrying a little bit further. So it looks like Vineland's going to play for some field position here as they're going to punt from the Millville 40, trying to pin Millville back deep. Tashir Brown, the sophomore, back for Millville.
Watching game film, he is a little speedy guy back there. So it may not be a bad idea to angle kick here if that's a possibility.
Ooh. Gandy's knee touches the ground on the low snap from Evans. Boy, and that's going to be a big change in field position, and Millville's going to start in Vineland's side of the field at the 46.
Could have almost certainly had them pinned down inside their 20, let alone 15, and now they're going to start on the Vineland side of the field here.
And if it wasn't 4th and 13 there, throughout the season, I've seen Coach Russo and his staff get more aggressive on 4th downs this season, which has been a joy to watch, kind of seeing how he executes 4th down. So keep an eye on them going for it on 4th down if it's a bit more manageable throughout the game.
Yeah, that sack kind of made you think, all right, do I play field position? The ball's on the 35, and then you're we're moving two in a row. I think the receiver on the outside kind of started moving as the guy was in motion.
So far, turnovers have been hurting Vineland, but it's been the penalties hurting Millville, so it's somewhat balancing itself out here.
So Allen and Robbins back alone. 4 receivers out. Now they overload the one side. LeQuint gets by the first tackler, then the second. He's in the open field at the 30. Stays on his feet before he's brought down at the 26. Talk about a nice block. It's a nice block when you're like holding, and it's not. That means you towed the line just enough.
And those are the types of runs that have killed Vineland's defense all season. They've been able to stop them up the middle, but once that running back gets around the outside, it's been tough for them to stop that. And
it's been the Holy Spirit game, stopping the best back in the state in one play. Boom. So Millville on the move. Here's Allen trying to get to the outside, but no. Ryan Williams, and I'll add the junior that I learned by listening to you, Kyle. Ironically, both Terry and myself taught Ryan
there we go.
Before he moved to Vineland. Big play.
If you go on the play before, Ryan Williams was the one who got penetration on that play also.
Yep.
Just the back just happened to get by him that time. This time back going opposite direction, he was able to lasso him in.
So 2nd and 11. And we're down to 3.5 minutes to go in the opening quarter. To give to Allen. This time he gets the edge on the corner, busts through the middle. Well, he had the edge, then squared it up and picks up a first down, and maybe one of the better runs I've seen. Well, I didn't think they'd be able to attack the edge running, but they've had some success
so
with
far,
it.
Yes.
This time just off tackle, another opening, driving forward to the 1. You know, maybe you spread your backers out a little bit and try to trust that line in the A and B gaps. But Millville quickly to the ball, 1st and goal. There's a give to Allen. Dives in, and he's short.
Thought the forward lean was going to get it for him.
Boy, I'll tell you, it's not even your typical straight arm. It's kind of just like a little bit of a post, but he's keeping people off him.
He's a long kid to begin. I mean, look at his frame. So I guess it doesn't take much.
Timeout, Vineland.
Timeout, Vineland.
So thus far, Rich, it seems to be opposite of what we thought. You were saying it's going to be a quick game. Or it's going to be throw,
I came here
throw.
and I was like, listen, this is going to be a 3.5-hour game because I think after the first 2 drives, Millville's going to be throwing every down. And that's not the case. This drive, Millville's running attack has really come to life.
And that's just good film study by Dennis Thomas, seeing that those edge rushes are, kind of the kryptonite for this Vineland defense. It happened, like you said, against Holy Spirit. It happened against St. Joe's. Happened a little bit against Mainland as well. If you can find the weaknesses against your opponent, that's an advantage, in any sport.
And as we were mentioning before we went on the air, with Millville's 4 receivers taking the D-backs, this run support out. And there's even plays where they'll have trips way outside the hash, and they won't even move on the snap. They did their job because there's 3 guys standing over with you, and taking away that support and smart running can make it very difficult.
It's a new look backfield here from Millville.
I think Allen did the work. There we go. Oh, false start. Big false start there. As both Allen and 22 Hunter.
And you're wide out to the
Oh, him too?
Yeah.
That's the second time for Bowman.
That's the downside to bringing in new personnel in these situations.
Don't I know it as an Eagles fan. So more manageable now. 2nd and goal from the 6. Allen up the middle, squirts through, and he's in. That was too easy. So Millville gets on the board first. Fighting the wind, they keep it on the ground.
As Coach Thomas just obliterated him coming off the field in celebration.
He's going to have to hit the concussion tent.
Something you don't see too often here. Millville going for a PAT.
Looks like Brian Hunter in for the extra point. Into the wind. And it's low and no good. That's a tough task. I mean, this wind now has picked up, and it's totally in the face of Millville. And you have a team that doesn't try a lot of extra points without going for 2. And tough spot. I was thinking the ball got up in the air. It may come back a little bit to him. Well, we talked about how it's been 4 in a row for Vineland. Back in 2016, Millville finished the year at 10-2. Vineland 8-2. Vineland beats Millville on Thanksgiving Day, 45-28, most points scored by one team, and I think it was the most in the series. But Millville then the next week goes on and wins a Group 4 state title. So you think maybe a little bit of a sandwich game for Millville. I can remember people telling me, oh, Coach Thomas is going to play his backups. And I was like, they don't even have helmets that fit because when he's beating people by 50, he's fake punting at the end of the game. So, like, of course, everybody played, but their focus may not have been there, so you weren't sure going into 2017. That year, Millville 9-2, Vineland 8-2. Millville was 9-0 and lost the playoff game and to Vineland 28-18. So Vineland then had that second one in a row, and we'll get more to that in a little bit. Vineland set to return with 2 minutes and 32 seconds to go in the opening quarter. Line drive, picking by Arthur. He waits for a little blocking in the front. Runs into his block. Just keep running. Yeah, sometimes trying to see which way the back's going, that's not your job. You got to just get on somebody and let them use you as a screen or as a block. But good field position for Vineland. They'll start on their own 37. Guys, seems like the running game's been working.
Ball spotted 37.
Look forward to continue until they stop it. Keep going with it.
Ethan Evans wide to the bottom. Levi Manson up top. Tony in the slot.
Use the running game to open up that passing game and give Gandy some confidence.
Gandy takes it himself. Stutter step, stays on his feet. Nifty move, has the first down. That was a little Carson Wentz's. About to get hit, and you just dug down.
Yeah.
People go over. Great balance. A nice run by Gandy. He had nothing there and turned it into a first down approaching midfield.
A lot of Gandy's game reminds me a bit of Aaron Rodgers. He does the hard count at the line, scrambles a bit, and he's got the big arm to get it down the field.
As you mentioned pregame, every game it's gotten better and better and better. And he had a couple opportunities with the transition to Tyreme with the injury to Pacheco, and then transition to Shelton with Shelton just switching up and playing defense and tight end. And He's had his time now, and he's done the most with this weird season we have. Nothing there on the give. Does seem like that snap is hanging up and throwing the flow and the timing off as Gandy's having to reach up and take it in just that half a second. Kind of has not added to the continuity of the offense.
And Blakely's going to stay in there at running back for this play as well.
Wow, Blakely's already a junior. I was thinking he was a sophomore. So 2nd and 8. Blakely over the left side, dances through the middle, tries to push forward for the first down. He's going to be close, but about a half a yard short. Nice run by Blakely. Good interior blocking. Blakely from a long line of Blakeleys. Both go to FDU where you played,
yes,
Terry?
Yes.
Yeah.
Both now playing FDU. Great school.
Rashawn and Isaiah. Am I right?
I know Isaiah.
All right.
I've drawn a blank on the other.
Yeah, Vineland with a ton of players in college. There's been decades where we've had one or two. So
now you're sending one,
even
minimum
in the
two
NFL.
a year now are moving on and playing. So that's great to see.
So 3rd and short. Another give. Lowers his shoulder for the first down. Goes Blakely. With his 2 carries, net 11 yards and a first down for Vineland. And that's going to do it for the first quarter.
Blakely was determined to get that yard there. He lowered his shoulder into the linebacker. You may be bigger than me, but I'm getting through you to get this yard.
It was kind of neat when he did lower that. You just watch him recoil and then explode in. Well, guys, how was your first quarter?
Not too bad. I mean, I've been impressed with the running game so far from both teams. They've been able to move the ball at pretty good rates. And, you know, with this wind, it's going to be interesting to see how the passing game develops for both teams, if it does at all.
Yeah, I was quite optimistic in the beginning of the first quarter, the way Vineland moved the ball, and still am. But
yes.
The defense was shutting down Millville's run. But that last drive, Millville found something. So even down 7, if that drive was a long touchdown pass, I would have been like, we're in good shape. But right now, Millville's come to play. They're getting a good push off the line. And if they can continue to run the ball, that's going to cause some problems.
It's one thing Coach Cliff does really well, though, and make those little adjustments on the defense. Well, yeah, he's going to realize he was getting gashed a little bit on that last series. He's going to make some adjustments.
First time Vineland's trailed after the first quarter in a few weeks as well.
Yeah, and in watching the games you did, it was like a great half of football. And I've been there for it, too. St. Joe's, Holy Spirit.
Mm-hmm.
And even when we used to play Williamstown all the time, man, we'd be right there. Gandy gives. Not much on that one, as Arthur's going to pick up maybe a yard or 2.
Arthur on the catch. Ball is spotted at 38.
So Vineland back in Millville territory. They've been there a few times, but nothing on the board yet.
2nd and 9.
What a nice job by both teams battling through this strange season. Still getting our Thanksgiving Day game a few days late.
As long as it gets in, because there's nothing like it.
Going deep is Gandy's got his man open, and it's tipped. Coming back and making the play on that one. I think that was number 1, Allen.
Yes.
Got his hand on it.
Winds seemed to kind of stop
Catch
that
that
one
was just
well,
enough to.
Faded off right in front of Jonathan Toney.
He was a good 5 yards behind them.
You know, and that's the first ball Gandy's thrown into that wind. So, I mean, he does have a rocket. And sometimes that's been a detriment, throwing it too hard for some people to catch. So he'll just bring that point of the ball down a little bit and be able to do that the next time.
Hey, Coach Thomas must have a ton of faith in it's Tyon Cephas here, number 16, the cornerback. At 5'10", they have him following Levi Manson all over the field.
So big 3rd down here for the Clan. Gandy waiting for the call in. I do miss huddles, though. I do miss huddles. I know it's a thing of the past, and they're not coming back, but I do miss them. Gandy to throw again. Pressure comes from the top.
Oh,
Tipped and
unfortunate.
almost tipped back to himself, but falling incomplete.
Ryan Williams, he tried everything he could to get to haul that one in.
And while holding off a couple defenders, if not three.
And if anything you learn from those two pass plays is Gandy's feeling confident throwing the ball. And that's a big boost for this Vineland offense throughout the rest of this game, is knowing that he's not hesitant to throw the ball into the wind. And here's Coach Russo with his aggressiveness on 4th down.
Oh. Millville calls a timeout right before they jump all sides. Wouldn't have been a first down, but would have made it much more
manageable in that situation.
Just as you were mentioning, Kyle, down in distance, this one not as bad, and you're inside the 40, and Vineland's going to go for it here.
It seems like this has been part of Coach Russo's kind of practice regimen, is working in a 4th down package, figuring out what's going to work for his team on these 4th down plays, no matter what the distance may be. And it's been working for them. With him getting aggressive each and every week, it's worked for them to convert, and they've been able to keep drives alive and put up points when they go for it on 4th down.
Well, you're at the 38, and this is where Coach Parentazzi and I argue. He's like, oh, you got to punt it. And I'm like, you got to figure it goes in the end zone. So they're getting a 20. You're losing 18 yards. That's basically a first down. Risk reward. I said, yet alone, you could have a bad snap, which happened.
Well, unfortunately, it's happened quite a bit with Vineland this year.
Yeah. So Vineland will go for it on 4th. This is their first try on 4th today. It's going to be Ant Arthur alongside Gandy in the backfield. Manson all the way up top. Evans down at the bottom. What is this?
More laundry.
Well, certainly wasn't Ryan Williams, because he was in a deep squat in his stance, and I'm like, he didn't move anywhere. And they're marching that off on Vineland. See if that changes what Vineland wants to do now with the ball at the 43-yard line. Vineland's still going to go for it here on 4th and 14.
This is where I listen for Gandy's hard count.
There you got it.
Go. Try to get those 5 yards back.
Coach Parentazzi, I know you're listening. I hope you're not rolling around in there with Ajita. And it looks like Vineland's just going to burn the timeout and punt it away. So the penalty pushes Vineland back. They were going for it the first time around, and this time just hoping to get the 5 back so they can go for it again. This is an interesting fake play that was from the movie Little Giants that Washington did. So it's time for the defense to step up. They played well until that last drive, where they kind of got a little gutted off tackle mostly. Let's see what Coach Cliff Smith and the Vineland defense has in store for that. But 4th down, Vineland still to punt it away. We're early here in the second. Yeah, as bad of a COVID season, only getting a few games in here and there. I mean, you got to think of the spring athletes that didn't get anything in, especially your seniors looking forward to playing in college. And I know if I had to fall back on my junior tape, I wouldn't have been going. I needed that senior year tape.
Yeah, being a teacher out of high school, I got to see a lot of those baseball players last year pretty upset when their season was canceled.
A little different set for Vineland. They get Millville to burn a timeout. Vineland has everybody up in the middle in that second line and usually sends 2 out and keep 3 in. This time they sent everybody but 1 out, possibly a fake. And whether it was or not, it gets a timeout off the board for Millville. Which kind of makes sense why Coach Russo probably had that ready to go. Otherwise, he wouldn't have burned the timeout and just punted from 5 yards back further. It's amazing. Some games you can fight so hard to hold your timeouts, and then at the end of the half or the end, it didn't matter. But it's always nice to have them in your pocket, and it's almost like a little bit of a victory here. So this has been the 4th down that hasn't happened. We're about 5 minutes into this 4th down with 2 timeouts, 2 penalties.
Redefines 4th and forever.
Let's see if Vineland is going to punt. They're set up to punt. Oh, they go back to just the one guy there. Let's see. Candy has it. Gets it away just in time. It floats down right out around the 12-yard line.
Great punt. So what do you need? You get away from the speedster that they have returning kicks. More importantly, you get the kick away.
Ball is 5 to 13, be first and 10. Move on.
So the good thing about when you're playing a team that's found success running the ball is that when you make a stop for no gain, and then you make an average stop for a gain of 4, you force them to throw, you force them to do something a little different. And that's what makes it a little easier to stop a running attack. Or that negative play, that false start, or a holding call can kill drives when you're stuck running. But now Millville has the wind at their back for the first time. Let's see if Coach Thomas has different plans for this quarter.
Really looking for Nas Butler to step up on this drive. He's been in the backfield of opponents all season long.
And out to the top of the screen. Gets turned in. Decent gain of 3. I think both sides will be okay with that. But good job having that containment on the outside.
17. Second down. About 6 yards to go.
Yeah, it would do Vineland well to push them into a third and passing situation. As we said, their vertical passing game is not their strong suit. So putting them in those situations.
But it was scary trying to get it to the flat when Manson almost ran one in. Could have you a little gun shy.
Ryan
and
Williams.
From behind
great
is
job.
Ryan Williams. Boy, I was watching him wondering if he could catch up to Allen. And he certainly does. He stays with it from the top of the screen and tracks it all the way down. Maybe no gain or a slight loss on the play. So here's our third, and we'll call it 6.
For a DN to track down a running back from the opposite side of the field, that is some hustle.
And that isn't your 6'4", 185 DN either.
6 foot, 225, plays tight end. Another kid that just does it all for this Vineland team on both sides of the ball.
DeMarcus Rivers now in at nose. Dutra goes to the outside, and they come up the middle, and Ryan Williams makes another stop with some help.
That's number 1 Allen on the carry again.
So 4th and 4.
Rivers comes in, one play, does his job. Took up 2 blockers. Freed up your linebackers to flow and make the tackle.
And I'm like, oh, they could be throwing. You put Rivers in now, and certainly does the job. Rivers, an all-conference performer last year. He's been shuffled around as the season's going on. Now it's Dutra, Rivers. So Robbins back to punt. He'll have the wind at his back. Got to watch the ball. You don't want to jump off here. Good punt. Going to come down right about the 40 where Tony has it. Spins back around, heads to the top. He's back to the 40, inside the 40 to the 44-yard line.
Tony on the return. Brings the ball up to the 44. Long takes over first
Well,
and 10.
Terry, I think it was your first game you did when we were in Cherry Hill.
Oh.
Tony was a freshman,
Yes.
and Cherry Hill East was struggling. And we had it.
Lightly.
We put it on them way early, up by 4 scores, and Tony came and got his first touchdown.
Yeah, it had to be a special moment as a freshman. You getting some varsity time, scoring your first touch. Doesn't matter.
We didn't even get in the booth. We were sitting in the back of the end zone. Ah. So 1st and 10, Fighting Clan. 8:40 to go. Defense did its job. Nice punt by Gandy. Sets the Vineland defense in good position. 3 and out. And here's the give to Arthur. He's got some room. Pushes forward. Gain of 4. Does seem like the running lanes have closed up a little bit than the first couple drives.
Ball spotted at the 40.
Looks like Arthur's a little shaken up there.
Yeah, he lunged forward at the end of that, and it almost was like they were bending him back like a reverse Boston crab.
2nd and 6, ball spotted at
Hopefully he's just a little stiff in his back there, getting a little stretched out. Is that another timeout?
Bit of confusion on that Vineland offense. Coach Russo decides to call the timeout and get things situated. Give Arthur some time to get off the field as well.
So we went 2018, the third win in a row for Vineland. Millville 6-5, Vineland 5-6, Vineland 26-6. That was just a one-sided affair there, but last year is the one that will go down in history for quite a long time. And this one starting out at a much slower pace as Vineland showed they can run the ball. Millville has now shown they can run the ball. So it's been a little back and forth feeling out. No team really stepping ahead. Vineland with some opportunities, but 2 fumbles. Manson's pick helped out. Here's Gandy through the middle. Spins and falls forward. He picks up about 3 for himself.
I've noticed on the sideline here, Scoop, Bennett,
Josh
starting
Bennett.
tackles, has been in on this series. Looks like he's trying to work out something. So there's been a little bit of a shuffle up front in the offensive line.
Kind of emerged from the tent as soon as Arthur got to the table.
So I think that's Mercado checking in. No. Yeah, Dylan Mercado. And he's probably at the guard spot. Dylan, a senior, 5'8", 230.
Josh Bennett, kind of the vocal leader on this offense as well. Really gets the guys fired up and going. It's got to be tough to not have him out there right now.
Especially on a 3rd and short. It's probably closer to 2 than 3, and I think it's going to be a delay of game. So 3rd and 7 after the penalty. As Kyle, you were mentioning, and Terry, you know, you got a player hurt, you send one in, confusion on the play. I mean, all that factors in, and you waste a couple seconds here and there. You certainly don't want somebody out there not knowing what's going on. They've got time now, so just take your time. Manson gets the play from Gandy. Gandy to throw. Hits an out to Tony, and it's just overthrown. So it's going to be 4th down. Looks like Vineland will be punting from their own 48.
It's a nice idea. You put your speedier receiver in that stack formation there with the receivers and try to send them out to the flat.
So 4th and 8, punting into the wind. More traditional punt look. Oh.
Almost again.
Yeah, almost again with that knee. It's going to take a Vineland roll. Moving away. Get to that 20, make it to 21. Or Millville will take over. 7 minutes to go. Defense looked good last time, fellas.
Yeah. Like I said, Cliff Smith always does a great job making those little adjustments. Looks like he made them.
Gandy always seems to help out, too. If the offense doesn't get it done and they can't convert on that 4th down or they decide to punt, he uses his leg to help his defense out and pin the opposing offense back.
Similar punting style to Ryan Shelton last year
drives.
with those line drives. And at first you're like, no hang time, but then it's not to the guy where he can get it. You've got to worry about the hop, and they end up being really productive.
Yeah, and you usually get the really nice roll with those line drives, which is that last punt was a perfect example.
Here's a give to Allen. He pops to the top. He's got some room to run here, and he picks up about 6. Just a little head fake in, and that edge is open. But that's those receivers out there. They've got you way out to the boundaries, and then they can chip on you on the run, and it's a really tough play for these D-backs. This time they seal
the
up
edge
the
again.
one side, but the other side's open. Vineland had Nas Butler step up and almost play your old school traditional end spot and box that side in. But Millville wisely went the other way and picks up a first down. This is the best I've seen Allen run this year. Kyle, you're almost right on it. It looks like the down marker's a half a yard in front of the ball to me, right?
Yeah.
So 1st and 10.5 for Millville. We'll take it. Thunderbolts holding the lead here, trying to get something on this drive. Gandy to pass. Pressure comes late. It's floated up and overthrown. Took a little while for the defender to turn his head on that one. But in good body position on it.
Yeah, it seems to be Robin's thing. If whenever he's going deep, it's kind of just, I'm throwing to a spot, you need to get there.
That's what we did outside. Go stand by the mailbox.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw it there. This time, nothing in the middle.
Marcus Rivers all over, all kinds of penetration.
That's Rivers with his hat flew off. But a nice job by DeMarcus. Eli Anderson checks in.
3rd down and about 13 yards to go.
Well, that drive started out really nice for Millville, and that Rivers play just put an end to that. So it's going to be 3rd and 11.
Talk about your Thanksgiving stuffing right there.
Oh, nicely done, Kyle. Uh-oh. Vineland drifting around a little bit. The screen's overthrown, intended for Allen. Decent coverage there. He would have picked up about 4 or 5, but not enough. So now Millville looks like they're going to kick it back to Vineland.
The length of Akami there helped out a little bit. Robbins being only a 5'10" quarterback has to put a little more loft on that one than he wanted to.
You didn't mention Akami earlier, the sophomore at 6'1", 230, getting a taste of some Thanksgiving football. And just like Vineland quarterback, Robbins will punt it away. That one's going to squeak by Tony, take a big roll. Tony's going to pick it up, and he's going to start to take it back up the right sideline, dips and doodles, and out to the 22.
Not sure if he got a hand on that when it bounced, so I think Tony did have to pick that one up. That way Millville didn't run that one back for a score.
And better safe than sorry, because even if you didn't and somebody thinks you did.
Yeah, you could argue all you want after the point, but if the referee thought you touched it, not much you can do about it.
Well, I think Vineland's offense, the one thing we haven't seen incorporated in yet has been Tony.
Which is pretty interesting because he is kind of the do-it-all guy on offense. We've seen him line up in that Wildcat quarterback position this year. We've seen him at running back and obviously as the slot receiver. Be interested to see, what the game plan is for him, the rest of this.
Going to the power backfield.
And that's usually Kent. Yeah, Kent's back there alongside
King
Arthur.
T.
Student body right. And nothing giving there.
No gain on play, 2nd down.
And it looks like Bennett's still out up front for Vineland. Looks like he's trying to stretch a quad out. So 2nd and 10. Vineland stacked receivers at the bottom. Gandy gives on the inside, and that was a nice tackle. Without that tackle, Vineland may have picked up about 10 or 12.
Yeah,
And that's Millville Devontae White
there.
There's about 9 yards to go.
Could hear his excitement all the way up in the booth.
Yeah. So 3rd and 9. Evans, Williams, Tony down at the bottom. See if they just try to isolate Manson up top. Gandy's going to run to that side, looking to pick up blocks, and there's people, but they picked the wrong people to block, and it's back to the line of scrimmage, 4th and 9. It's one of my pet peeves. When we were running the wing tee when I was coaching, and I would have my fullback would lead on, we call it. And when he would lead, I tell him, I don't want you to block anybody. You're going to run on a 45-degree angle there. It's his job to put his hand in your pocket. You don't step off this line unless somebody's in your way and you run them over. But kids trying to do so much, trying to find the right block, when sometimes just moving up the field creates running lanes, especially with the amount of speed that both teams have in their backfield.
Well, I'll say this. Going back to the back from Holy Spirit, he was good for that. He was so fast sometimes he would just see a line, go to it. A lot of times he beat his blockers there, but it's one of the best running backs in the state, so it does work.
Classy too, a little banged up and didn't play the Thanksgiving Day game. Of course, his backup, I think, went for almost 200 yards. I saw a tweet that one of the sports writers reposted of his saying, I wasn't at 100%, and I sat out and worked out good for them. All right, time to punt again into the wind. This time, Gandy's going to stand at his own 10-yard line. Good snap. Gandy hits it high and short. Let's see what kind of hop. Out of bounds. Looks like right around the 49. Make it to 50. So Millville with good field position, but nothing doing on their last 2 drives. And just 2:42 to go. And there's been a plethora of timeouts called. And neither team has any left according to the scoreboard.
Don't expect much change here in this situation. Still see Millville coming out trying to attack the edge with the run.
Millville does get the ball to start the 3rd quarter. So if they were able to add anything here, that's like up a run and holding the hammer in the bottom of the 9th, you know.
Check out this formation.
One-on-one up top. Are you looking there?
I'm talking 4 receivers all bunched at the bottom.
No, that's what I mean. Like, why would they all?
One up top, yeah.
Unless Gandy's going to run to them. No, they're going to throw a screen.
It looks like that should be a hold on Millville. We're going to hope here that flag that just came in.
And that could ruin this attempted drive. I like attacking the short side of the field once in a while, though. Well, that was an official holding call. I think I cracked my thumb demonstrating that. So Vineland will push him back. 2:36 to go here in the 2nd quarter. Ball now back on Millville's 41-yard line, and it's 1st and 20, 19. Now everybody and a lineman over to that side. I think we need one to split the gap. Sacked!
Yeah, we'll take that sack.
Ryan Williams swings him around a few times as Butler comes in to help out.
Yeah, illegal formation. After all that.
Reminded me a lot of that Patriots-Colts formation from a few years ago where Pat McAfee was lined up under center with just one lineman and everybody else out wide, and it was just like, what are you doing here?
Wow. This drive, I believe,
started at the 50.
Started at the midfield. And with timeouts left, it may be something different, but the clock is running, and it's only 2nd down. 2nd and 35. Boy, you know, you try a couple tricks, but do you lose the momentum that you've gained? You're winning. You've got great field position. 1st down doesn't go your way.
You were running
and
the
you
ball
get a holding in there.
And you one attempt at a screenplay,
and then you go crazy with the next one. One thing Vineland's defense has done that I haven't seen a lot of people do with Millville is be able to get pressure. We talked pregame about Robbins' 1-2 throw, or at most 1-2 look it off throw, and this time it's not happening. So Gandy in no hurry gives up the middle. And that Rivers was running the opposite direction as Rivers stops the flow. Not as good as the stuffing comment, but right now I'm in second place and Terry is not on the board.
Seems like those trick plays have really kind of lit a fire under Vineland's defense, and it's like, come on, are we going to play with these trick plays? Let's play some actual football.
And if I'm a Millville player, I'm walking off the field at halftime going, yo, let's just play the game. Like
Coach, we were doing fine.
Yeah.
Don't resort to this.
It's kind of the way I feel at every level of football. If it's fourth and more than 5, you watch it in the pros. They go up there and they're acting like they're going to snap it, and then they're not. It's a passive play. So if you drove to midfield, and like, why have a passive play? Like, I don't know.
You're at midfield and leading, and you're getting the ball back in the to start the second half. Why not try to add on?
Going 3 times, once off left tackle, come back off right tackle. If I don't get anything, I don't get anything. But now we're down to 16 seconds.
Those kind of plays are the types of plays you call when you're trailing. Trying to throw, the opponent off and trying to create something out of nothing.
Rutgers.
4th and about 32. There's 16 seconds left. No timeouts for either team. I am blocking this kick. If not, I'm destroying the quarterback because the penalty is going to give him a first down, but there's no time. I don't mean destroy him, hit him illegally, but I'm going to press the issue.
Go after it. There's not a big downside to this.
No. They'll still have the ball 10 yards where the first down was, even though it's first. He gets away a nice kick. Tony's going to catch it at the 33. There's a lot of Millville in front of him. He stutter steps and is brought down at the 42-yard line with 5 seconds to go. So Vineland will have one play. You going to call this one, Kyle? What are they doing?
I say you go for the Hail Mary. It seems like Gandy's been able to throw it into the wind. Why not give your team a shot? And it's one of those things that's worked for Vineland late in the second quarter all season long. That final play has somehow resulted in a touchdown more often than not. So why not give it a go?
I think I'm going to bring everybody to one side but Manson, and I'm leaving him alone.
ISO.
I'm running an ISO with my receiver and a D-back. Well, Manson's out here. A little bit of a mess in the middle. 1st and 10, 5 seconds to go. And they're not going towards Manson. They're going towards the other side where it's incomplete as Manson really didn't get a break off the ball.
What was funny is the strong safety and free safety rotated over to his side. So,
and that's going to do it for the first half. Well, fellas, as we hit the halftime, I want to clean anything up here. Terry, what you got on your mind?
I've liked everything so far that Vineland's done. Millville got a little hot in that one series with the run, but Vineland came out the next 2 defensive series and really did a good job of shutting all that down that they gave up. So I just look for the offense to click a little more. I think they're going to be fine.
Kyle?
Seems like bringing DeMarcus Rivers in has really, changed a lot with that run defense. Even with Millville trying to run it around the edge, it seems like it's opened up things for Vineland's defense to get a little more loose around the edge. And he's been a game changer since, being inserted on, his first drive of the game.
Yeah, that's a great point. And you saw the stuffing stuff, but then also just having 2 people, as Terry mentioned, also coming down, that frees up a little room to make a play. And that's where I thought Millville kind of took momentum as they marched down running the ball. And early on it was Vineland's momentum, almost a pick 6, the turnover, the running the ball. So Vineland's turned the ball over twice, and they're not in a bad spot for it. Both times they regained that yardage. So now Millville's going to start this drive getting the ball in a little bit of a worse position than they would have been, say Vineland had run it out and not gave Millville 1st and 10 with 2 minutes to go at the 50. There's some negatives that happened to Millville, which hopefully, if you're a Vineland fan, carry over. And if not, hopefully Coach Thomas, for the Millville people, can rally them back. But Vineland has showed they can now stop the run They've corrected that. So hopefully we're in store for a really good second half. So this is Rich Scarpa for Kyle Bennett and Terry Love, and we'll be back for the start of the second half.
Yeah, fans, let's give a nice round of applause to the Vineland High School Marching Clan out there doing their thing today. Missing some band members today, but go out there still doing their thing, sounding real, real good out there under the direction of Miss Eileen Bosco. Great job, Vineland High School Marching Clan.
And we're back. Both teams stretching, getting ready for the kickoff of the second half. And you know what we didn't mention wrapping up that first half was the score of 6-0. You know, 7-0's one thing, 6 is another. You have Henry Garton, that one of the better kickers in South Jersey, works at it extremely hard and is a real bonus to have. So you've got to figure that missed extra point could factor back in here. For Millville, they'll be getting the ball to start this half after they Baba Booeyed their last drive, starting at the 50, going back to about the 25, and just not able to get anything going. So kind of on a little bit of a downer. So it's real important for Vineland's defense to come out and get this 3 and out, and then you can start to take momentum back over and try to take the lead in this one. But a good first half, a few penalties here and there. Both teams fairly evenly matched. Millville had that weird drive where they're able to run the ball, and it hasn't happened since. So hopefully the changes that were made have solidified that. And there is going to be a half where the wind's going to be a factor in throwing the ball, and that's when you're heading to the west, to your left when you're watching this. You'll have the wind in your face.
And once the wind changed direction, it came on pretty strong.
And as the wind changed direction.
We started the game, it was going across the field, and then it started coming in strong from the west.
I Googled that this morning. They said the wind out of the west, northwest. Not even thinking about football, but I was like, all right, west, north, west. Like, is that what it means? Like
11
halfway.
o'clock.
Yeah. Is that where I'm going? Like, how do I tick this off? I'm going to learn that, though. All right, Millville set to return. LaQuinn Allen back on the near side.
One thing I did see that was a little encouraging for the Fighting Clan when they came back out on the field for halftime. Offensive guard Bennett was getting all stretched out there, so it does look like he's going to try to make a go of it, get back out there, provide some of that leadership on the line.
Doing a bit of a Little Mermaid stretch. He wants to be where his teammates are.
Yes.
So Vineland set to kick. It's Garton going to kick it off. Millville trying to rebound from their Baba Booey drive and bring this thing back in. And Garton's just going to chip it, and that's a nice one as long as it stays in bounds, and it does. Right to the 25. We're hit and swarmed over and brought down. Aggressive special teams play. Starts Millville at the 25.
Deshaun Winchester came flying down, stayed in his zone. The return man had a chance to touch it, he was all over him.
I was talking to Deshaun's father when you went by me down there, Terry, and we were talking about the speed he has, but we're still a little on our heels, a little flat-footed. We were talking about that a little bit, but, boy, he covers some ground. And that whole defensive backfield is probably the best I've seen under Coach Russo. And they've had really good guys back there, but as a unit, they're pretty tough. So 1st and 10. Millville adds the extra back in the backfield. There's a pitch to the short side. LaQuinn Allen gets to the 30 and steps out of bounds short of the 30 at the 27. He had some room to roll. Hitting that short side came as a little bit of a surprise.
And looking sideline, even more of a positive. Josh Bennett just put his helmet on, so it looks like he's going to be ready to roll when his number's called.
Definitely going to be a plus. It looks like Vineland realized they really need DeMarcus Rivers because he's back out there. And again, taking up 2 blockers on that last run by Millville.
Wow, nice job. That's Nas Butler. Nas Butler doesn't touch the running back, but takes the blocker, closes the hole, and tackles him with the backside of the blocker. Nice job, Nas. And that's the way this defense is set up for linebackers to make the tackles. And their first 3 guys in tackles, Butler, Kent, and Davis, are the guys at linebacker. So 3rd and long, pressure on, the pass is thrown and complete. And a nice short tackle right at the 38. That's good enough for a first down as Winchester comes up and makes the stop. Winchester fails on that one. He's gone. Just one-on-one, nice short open field tackling.
And now with the wind at their backs, you may see Millville, instead of that horizontal passing game, may try to go a little vertical.
There's out wide, trying to make somebody miss, but it's cleaned up well.
And just as I say that, they go back horizontal.
Ball is about 44, second down, about 6 yards to go for the first.
So gain of 4.
Run to the short side.
Well, they've been 3 times in a row. This time picking his way through the middle, a run designed to the short side. Cutting back and picking up a first down is Quinn Allen. They're in Vineland territory, and checking in on the defensive side now is Anderson. So 1st and 10, Millville on the move in Vineland territory. And they go pitch to the short side again. Oh, a nifty move, hop, skip, and a jump, picking up about 9. And that's just not a coincidence. That's 6 of the last plays, 6 of 7 have gone short side. 1 with the pass, 1 with a run, and then the runs to start this off. They may feel they have a little edge. And LeQuinn trying to get wide, and he's drugged down by the defensive, or make that Kent short gain.
And they're moving up tempo, which is actually
super quick.
A problem for Vineland right now, that Vineland plays strong side and weak side tackle. Having people flip-flopping on the line, you're not always setting in position.
Right, they may just be going away from Williams.
We've seen that on the past couple of plays now. Vineland's defensive line hasn't been completely set by the time the ball is snapped, and that's how Millville's been able to get, a bunch of their yards here.
That's complete.
Nice
Another
tackle.
short tackle. Tyson Smith with the reception.
Ball spot 31. 2nd and 6.
Well, they've got their passing game mixed in with the running game going now. They may just keep going there, and they do. Another short one. That's a gain of 4. It's going to be 3rd and about 2. All right, so now they see that you're playing back, they're throwing under. Now we're going to scrape somebody in that path? Are we setting them up, or are we yet to adjust?
I don't think he got it.
I don't think he made it there. A hard hit. Hopefully Butler's all right. Getting him up. He's a little groggy. Looks like he's going to stay down a moment.
Looked like a little helmet-to-helmet contact there.
Certainly sounded like it from all the way up here. Boy, what a long way football has come with concussions and everything. Wasn't that long ago. Oh, he got his bell rung. Give him some water. All right, you ready? Then we played football without trainers. You had a team doctor on the sideline.
Dr. Bernardini.
Yeah, pretty much there, and Doc Silver in Millville, pretty much there back in the day to deal with broken bones. But then since the addition of the training staff, they do a lot more. But they were kind of like the first person out of the ambulance kind of deal.
Yes.
And the ambulance would come. But great training staffs at every school for help out the student athletes and make sure they're protected. And I can remember getting taped by the offensive line coach.
Coach Schneeweiss.
Yeah, taped way too tight all the time. I try to flex my foot up, try to get a little more blood in there. So then I'd sneak and cut it. Like, love Coach Schneeweiss, but he wasn't a trainer. Well, 4th down for Millville. They're going to be going for it on 4th and 2. Ball at the Vineland 27. Big play here. 2 running backs. There's the give to Allen, getting to the top. He's got the first down, a little bit of more. He's going to bring it to the 20, and then finally wrestle down inside the 20-yard line. I think they're just running away from Williams.
That's what it seems to be.
Ball be spotted at 18 in 1st and 10.
You know, and that's where last year with Herring on that defensive tackle / end spot. And that's something he's also doing. The play's designed to go
Again, that's number 1
out
on the
off
carry.
tackle kind of to the sideline, and he's just planting and cutting back. So Vineland may be a little aggressive getting in there and not scraping through. We got to take a look at the backside backer on those plays.
Seems like once Robbins got sacked by Ryan Williams Jr., he let his teammates know, we're not going near him anymore.
Yeah, let's.
Allen just trotted off the field, a little gimpy.
There's the screen pass out.
Ethan Evans was there, just couldn't wrap him up.
Well, Evans
That
would have
first
had him
defender.
for a loss,
No game, no play,
a
no
big
play.
loss, but instead it still goes for 1. So just stopping that momentum on there. Evans commits to it, gets cleaned up. 3rd down that quickly. 3rd and 7 from the 15.
Allen back on the field, still limping a little bit, so maybe that slows him down just that little bit you need.
I'm going to have to stick my head out the window here if they go short side again. There's a pitch to the wide side. And tripped up. Short
Although
gain of about
they ran away from who was trailing him that whole time, Ryan Williams again.
Ball spotted
Yeah.
for 4th down.
there isn't going to be any cutback. So another 4th down on this drive. Millville trying to add to that 6-0 lead. They converted their last 4th down. This one's going to be 4th and 4. Ball just at the Vineland 11. Allen alongside Robbins, and they try to draw Vineland off,
And they do.
and a Vineland player jumps off. That'll be the easy way to get the 1st down. You know, we talk about down and distance and offensive play calling also on the defensive side of the ball.
1st and goal. Ball spotted.
You got to share that. Watch the ball, because you know they can convert it. Their 1st and goal at the 6. Allen to the top. He's inside the 5. Untouched into the end zone for the Millville score.
Allen for the touchdown.
Well, that looked like the drive they scored on before, just attacking
Very
the edges.
reminiscent, yes.
So they attack that, get in the end zone. Vineland makes changes. They then go to the short side of the field. Not always the weak. Sometimes it was a strong, but they go to the short side of the field, and that's where they found their hole.
And using that up-tempo offense really threw Vineland way off track from what they were used to in that first half.
I think the 2 biggest run gains were 2 plays where the Vineland defense wasn't set.
So Millville going to go for 2 here. They're going to try to make it 4. Oh, yeah, they are. I'm hearing block that kick. I'm like, we're not kicking anything here. They got to make up for that missed extra point. I think they got 12. Thrown and complete for the 2.
2-point conversion is good.
So 14 now. That point we mentioned coming in from the break is no longer a viable option. The one thing Vineland's defense did on that drive was made them earn it down the field. It wasn't pressed up the whole time and one play touchdown.
One big play to one that's killed them in the past, but
You know, and you do have to press up a little more, that they're taking advantage of that. But either you split the difference, have somebody sneak, and I'm sure they'll make those adjustments. But the biggest adjustment has to be this offense getting on track. And there's been times they looked really solid, times the running game is going strong, but just not enough.
and that one costly penalty. They were at the point where they were stopping them for 2 and 3 yard gains at that point, and then
Well, it wasn't like they
jump off sides.
wasn't. Yeah, I mean, 2 fourth down conversions on that drive. So Bryson Cox Patterson set to kick off.
Looking like the days of old, Rich. Who's the big kid with the big toe? We're just going to let him run straight into the ball
Boot it.
and boot it.
That's a nice kick. Right back to the 14. where Tony has it. And swarmed over and brought down at the 26.
Number 3, Tony.
Jonathan Tony brings that return up. We talked about it going into halftime. Let's see if Coach Russo makes some adjustments and gets him more involved in the offense, because he's been a versatile playmaker all season long, has scored touchdowns, you know, in almost every single game this season. Get the ball into the hands of your best players, and Jonathan Tony is certainly one of them.
And this is a weird situation because it's not like the running game isn't working. It's not like the passing game isn't working. It's not in a desperation mode offensively, but just the rhythm is a little bit off. Now Vineland's going to go short side. And stay. Oh, he just tiptoed out as Tony. Or excuse me, as Arthur.
It couldn't have been by much.
I don't. In these last 10 plays, I see more on the hash, running to the short side, and it's worked for both teams.
If only he had white cleats on.
Yeah.
But big gain, nice first down.
Great job by the offside guard, pulling around, sealing that edge for him.
Boy, and Eli Anderson, the tackle on this on the short side down here, really got off the ball quick. We want a timeout called by Vineland.
Coach Volpe, none too happy.
Not happy there.
Right there.
That's not his happy walk.
Good to see Josh Bennett is back out on the field for Vineland now too, so big boost to that offensive line.
It's been a strange one. Because Millville's 2 drives, they moved the ball. The rest of the time,
That's
You
it.
know,
There's nothing substantial in any other drive except their 2 scoring drives.
We're coming off that crazy one last year.
Yeah, going in 6-0 at halftime. What is this game? what two schools are we watching play here?
Of course, we all know the next score is the most important one. See if Vineland gets their ship righted here on offense. Throwing deep is Gandy. It's going to be overthrown, intercepted, down at the 29-yard line. Not the worst thing in the world.
I mean, it's a punt, essentially.
Yeah, just would have been better if it was 3rd down.
Yeah. He threw in the double coverage there. You hate to always second-guess a kid, but looked like he did have something open underneath. But
Well, I've been watching Carson Wentz for a couple weeks. When they show the replay of him getting sacked and you see 2 wide open guys, it's not the easiest thing in the world to do.
And it's a different story if you're thrown into double coverage and you're thrown to a 6'4" Levi Manson. Throwing
True.
it into double coverage to a Jonathan Tony, who's a smaller slot guy,
Yes.
not the best decision there by Gandy.
looks like Nas Butler's back on the field. So that's a good sign.
This quick swing pass makes the first one miss. Loses the ball, but out of bounds. It's going to be a gain of about 6. It's Teron Hale. Make it a gain of 8, 2nd and 2. Boy, there's
Short
just
side
no
again.
that pivot step pitch. That old midget pivot, like when you see the quarterback's foot go, like we have nothing out there. There's no push on the edge. You almost need that outside backer to step up into that space.
Here's something different.
Fullback run.
Oh boy, and wide open for him. Poor Tony trips him up. Millville on the move again.
Normally that formation, fullbacks leading to the short side. That time they give him the give belly for a pretty big gain.
Pump fake, looking along, floating it up to the receiver in stride. And in the end zone, Devontae White puts Millville up 3 scores.
Great read by the quarterback to find that mismatch. Having a linebacker on a wide receiver, you win that 9 times out of 10.
And they had that earlier, almost in the same spot. We were mentioning didn't turn around because it was a little underthrown. He'd stride for stride, but not knowing where it was.
That was a tough one.
Well, we may get to see Gandy throw the ball a lot more now.
Time to
Could get
open it
us
up.
back in it quicker. But for Millville, they've come out firing here with 2 scores and 2 drives. Different kicker in this time, and he gets it into the parking lot. That was Brian Hunter, the freshman. The opposite of the big leg. Speaking physically of the big leg.
Yes. There you have it now. You're down 21-0. 4 minutes in the, I'm sorry, just under 5 minutes here in the third. I think it is time. Coach Volpe opens it up a little bit. You're kind of forced to at this point. Get it to your receivers, even if it's short passes, slant passes. Allow them to make the moves they need to get themselves open and free.
Kyle, you've been here all but the first game, and like it's a little troubling what's going on now. But you look, it's been spurts by each team, and you know, going forward, something has to happen quick for Vineland. But that defense, you don't expect them to throw the ball deep. They got their second score. They want to grind it out. And Millville is attacking and having a strong game after a few years of a little bit of a lackluster performance from Millville in this game. They've certainly come to play today.
Yeah, you want to see that Vineland offensive playbook. Just open up. You know, it's your final game of the season. Let it all loose. You know, there's nothing really to lose in terms of, you know, calling plays that you wouldn't normally call. There's nothing really to hide left.
Boy, that's a boot and into the end zone. Kind of lost my train of thought. I was meant to lead you into Millville's definitely winning this game. I'm taking nothing away from Millville, but coming off 2 games in a row, you were there when it took Vineland a little while to get going, get a couple games in, and coming off almost 21 days with no game. You know, there hasn't been enough time for Vineland to adjust to that. And you were okay when it was 6-0, but you know now you're feeling a lot of pressure. So Gandy gives to Arthur, who swarmed over and brought down right about the line of scrimmage.
Ball carries 1, Arthur.
And I like the idea of getting the slant game going because these receivers on the Vineland offense, they have speed to, you know, create after the catch. You got Jonathan Tony, you got Levi Manson. Let them run in space, and there's very few guys that can track them down.
Exactly.
And the idea of the slant's a good one because you can't just heave it up with this wind and try to hit them in stride through the middle, as they're should be still attacking the run, as we're still running a little bit. Here's Gandy on the keeper. Not much there.
Gandy on the carry.
Fans become a little restless.
Yeah.
Brings the ball to the 23. He's at 3rd and 7. Ball spot is 23.
So third and long.
Bleacher coaches are letting it be known right now.
3rd and long, 3rd and 7. This play's taking a little bit of time.
Let's keep an eye on the back judge here.
That's what I'm staring at. Gandy looking for a quick hitch. And he rolls and his receiver stays planted. You're rolling to you. You got to make your second move. And they could have got him deep there, but miscommunication.
Not really sure what happened there on that play. Somebody was, what did he say? Somebody was bobbing, the other one was weaving, I guess.
So 4th and 7. Vineland headed back to punt it.
Delay game again.
Josh Bennett just heading back to the sideline as well, holding his back, goes
Or
back
was
into the 10.
He's trying to gut it out right now, but you can tell by the way he was walking off the field. It's hurting.
This one's going to be fair caught right at the 44. Well, we're still in the 3rd with 3 minutes and 18 to go. Last year, Vineland scored 3 times in the 4th. So we're still there. We just got to have some continuity and certainly no more points on the board for Millville. As Millville's grinded this out, little lead the end of the 1st, and both possessions have led to scores, and this one's starting in some great field position at the Vineland 44.
Yeah, don't expect them to change a whole lot for the way it's been working.
But I think I heave it up deep one more time if I'm them. And back to pass, pressure on, floating it deep over the middle, complete. And almost dragged down, then finally inside the 5.
Got that matchup again Kyle was talking about, a receiver on a backer.
It's Nas Tatum, the outside linebacker, in that coverage.
First and goal.
So 1st and goal, Millville. They're trying to score their 3rd touchdown in this quarter.
Official timeout on the field.
Official needs a little bit of a break, may have got hit in the face or something. Looks like he's rinsing his mouth out. I was worried there's going to be some goofy call coming or something.
I was a little confused.
I couldn't understand why he was walking all the way up there.
It was just a water boy moment. Timeout from the game.
At least I pretended he got hit in the got a bloody lip. So 1st and goal. Millville not in yet. 3:01 to go. Moving forward, picks up 1. He's down to the 2-yard line.
Ball response to 2, 2nd and goal.
That Lathan Kent darting through because he had a nice size hole to squeak through.
So give to the first man, and he's brought down for no gain.
Ball carries in 5.
Is that Rivera made the tackle there?
Timeout.
Davis.
Oh, Davis.
Looks like he may have taken a knee to the helmet too in making that tackle.
So 3rd and goal. Here's the pitch to Allen. And he cuts in for the score.
That's number 1, Allen, for the touchdown.
Well, Allen certainly ran the ball well today. Just outmatched on that pitch. There's not enough black jerseys out there.
Yeah, receiver, all you have to do is hold a stalk block for a second or two, and with all that space, you know your back's going to get in.
And, or just a great break. They're going to follow you for a step before they can plant and have to come back. Bad snap, but it's placed down. And the freshman has his second conversion of the day. Brian Hunter, 2 for 2. It's a little bit of pride time now. We talked pregame about Vineland making plays when they needed them earlier in the year. You know, we're past the needing them now, but get one play, get another play. Start to make something happen a little bit. And this team has been resilient, and they've made plays to stay around a lot longer than they should have in some of these games. Vineland just a little beat up physically. Yeah, a lot of guys nicked up, limping off. Always remember your last snap in high school. It's, but you have over a whole quarter to go. Let's get something going here. And for Millville, boy, we've not stopped that delayed pitch. We've not stopped running to the short side yet. So they have to be happy, thinking they can just hold on to the ball when they get it back and take some time off this clock. So with exactly 2 minutes to go in the third, it's offsides on the kickoff, but that wasn't called. Vicinity rule. Nice block on the inside. Manson puts his head down and gets to the 31.
Number 4, Manson on the return. Brings the ball across the 30 to the 31. First and 10.
Yeah, 2 first quarter turnovers for Vineland. Also helped stop some of this momentum as they were running pretty well.
So now with this formation, looks like Vineland may actually open it up. You're twinning your 2 best receivers with each other. You're going to make a D-back make a choice.
There's a give to Arthur, and possibly a face mask penalty, because I didn't see anybody out there to commit a hold, and the flag has hit the field, but it looks like it is a hold. Must have been a hold on the inside, not letting the defender release.
Yeah, as a lineman, that's one of the toughest blocks to make, is that reach block. Do sometimes get that hand on the outside of shoulder pads.
You know, and sometimes you're in great position, and as the ball starts to go,
you
lose your leverage.
Pulls away.
And it's almost like a hand placement foul, not a holding penalty. Gandy to throw. And it's a jump ball, tipped, intercepted, right at the 45. Before Williams brings them down. This, at times, has almost been like this passing, and the progressions have been a little preseason workout. You got players calling for the ball when the move is to get up the field at that point in time, not to plant down. And this one goes back to the middle of the field where there's a lot of coverage. So Millville with it back quick again. 1:20 to go in the third.
Although you do need, get offense going, you didn't need that much.
Yeah.
Especially when close to Vineland sideline, you had Jonathan Toney wide open, no defender. You had both defenders kind of taking Levi Manson out of the play. Like we said, get the ball in the hands of some of your best players. And Jonathan Toney is one of those. Missed opportunity there.
Who can do a lot after the catch, too, so you don't have to.
Allow these kids to do what they do.
Play smarter, not harder.
And there's the holding call on that gain of 5.
Was held and still made the tackle.
Yes, he did.
Still made the jersey tackle.
So it looks like we're going to be at like a 1st and 16.
Holding Millville. will be spotted at 35.
So 1st and 16 for Millville. The clock will run.
1st and 16.
And there you go again, Kyle, identifying the strength, getting set a little late. Outside edge given there. Linebacker takes a bad route inside. So it'll be about 2nd and 10. Well, you really don't think it's going to be that difficult to contain the outside on the short side of the field. I mean, you almost want to say, let's slant the line short side, because it's been 8 out of 10 plays. There's the pass back out. Picks up a nice block into the open field. Tony looking for a flag as he was held up in the middle, but was a little bit far away from the play.
There is a flag that just flew in the end zone.
That's going to be one of them after you're in, and most likely on us.
It's Callum Bowman on the touchdown.
Bowman had some speed in there. I think he had jumped off sides once before or something, but boy, did he make up for that with his wheels. 37 seconds to go in the 3rd quarter. With a penalty on Millville, dead ball foul, touchdown stands, extra point coming up. Be 29 points in the 3rd quarter for Millville if he converts this one. And I kind of, St. Joe's, Holy Spirit, not knocking anything. Millville's got a very good team, but when it got out of hand then, you kind of say we played over our heads to be in it, but it was kind of an even game, and Millville's just owned this 3rd quarter. Up and good. So a 29-point 3rd quarter for Millville.
That's impressive.
37 seconds to go.
See a lot of heads starting to hang on the Vineland sideline right now.
Well, you need all different kinds of leaders on a football team. You need the people that do things a certain way, people that work harder, people that bring emotion. But a lot of times your players that come with emotion, it's hard for them to have that when you're down. I can remember playing with James Cooper, and if the score got out of hand, boy, he would just get angrier and angrier. And don't you have any pride in yourself with some adjectives in front of it? And that's what you look to see from Vineland seniors here, closing this out. Let's try to win this quarter. Let's try to make some plays. Because sadly, as we all know, there aren't many high school football players that play at that next level.
Yes.
And of the ones that do, there's maybe a third that play 4 years, that don't give it a try, and then, which is fine. Get into your academics. They're much more important. Don't get me wrong. But if you enjoy playing the game, like, you got to appreciate every second. This one's going to hop to Manson at the 25.
Let's tuck that ball away.
And he's got it like a loaf of bread heading out to the sideline where he's contained well.
Little Shady McCoy-esque, holding the ball that way.
Yeah, I thought that about watching film with Allen. I thought he had the ball loose a lot, cutting through the middle of the field, and he certainly held on to it today and has had a great game. Well, oh, fellas, we have a running clock.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute, how'd that go? So high school rules up 35 points. Clock runs. Out of bounds, it runs. So Millville gathers.
You're down 35-0, fourth quarter, wins at your back. If now's not the perfect opportunity to open it up, see what you have, I really don't know when it is.
Well, it's kind of like you talk of any sport, any pro sport we've seen, except for the ones that were ready for playoffs. That, you know, I think it was the Washington Nationals had the same record they did the previous year after so many games. Like that, this isn't a true season.
No, not
you
even
know.
the least bit.
And Vineland's played a lot of teams well, and Millville with wins over St. Augustine Prep, you know, and who was, I forget the other one. There's the two top.
Williamstown.
And Williamstown. And they have a way of beating Williamstown. They also beat them for their championship a few years ago. And Millville's done very well with it. Vineland a little up and down. And here's Arthur in motion. And it's Gandy on the keeper, and he's going to lose 2. Boy, I never could have seen this coming at the end of the first half.
No.
We're talking 3 and out, and we've got momentum, 6-point game. And
Second and 11, ball is spotted 39.
I can't search the history of this series, but I don't know that we've seen 29 points in a quarter.
I don't know if I've seen 29 points in any football game I've watched. I'm not trying to knock anyone. That's impressive. There's no other way to say that.
So Gandy to throw. He's hit as he throws it and almost intercepted, but not able to hold on as Devontae White.
Pass is incomplete. It's a third down.
Beat his hands and got to his shoulder pads. Well, not the way Vineland wants to end this season after righting the ship and picking up 2 in a row before their shutdown. I'd like to say a win's a win, a loss is a loss, but this third quarter has been a nightmare and nothing but pleasure for Millville. Their heads will be held high when they're shopping at the Cumberland Mall or out somewhere in the future when we're able to. Gandy floats it up deep. It's going to be well overthrown. Intended for Manson.
The fourth down.
Fourth down, Vineland will be kicking it back.
And then what makes this more disheartening is it is Millville. It's the game you look forward to no matter what happened all year. This is that game, and it's not going the way, I know, definitely not the way they want it to be going.
Nor the way it could have been.
After after that first half.
Yeah.
Yes.
Snap to the back, Arthur. Goes through the middle. And he's short of the first down, so Millville will take over in Vineland territory. So Arthur picks up about 7 or 8. Talking about different kind of leaders, and that's something that you're missing right now. You know, and not everybody's the same, but there needs to be somebody adding, you're representing yourselves here. Let's get a little fired up. Let's put our hat on some people. If this guy throws again, you know, you know.
Pick yourselves up. Let's make some positives out of this.
In a lot of sports, it's really hard when you're going bad, but in a team sport like this where you got 11 guys working together as one, it's almost like being shell-shocked with those 29 points and the game getting away from you that quick. You're shocked. Robbins just does an outstanding job doing what he's supposed to do, like he's been doing for years. Back to pass. He gets away, fires it to the sideline out of bounds.
Like Ryan Williams still has that engine going, though.
7.5 minutes. They'll go by quick. I'd like to, of course, thank everybody at VPS Broadcasting for everything you guys do. Of course, our sponsors will allow us to bring you the games. And hopefully next year, everybody will be back to regular situations. And we can have some normalcy back.
Nice
Ball's
hit.
loose on the ground. Picked up by Tony, who stays on his feet, and he's clipped out of bounds right at the Millville 44 or 47. Millville with a new back getting a touch there as they work some players in.
Ethan Evans doing a nice job from his outside backer position, flowing to the ball.
We'll have the first and 10.
You know, for Coach Thomas, who's had a lot of success at Millville, as we mentioned, losing a Thanksgiving Day but winning a championship, having these really tight games, having the lead, this thing gets back. You don't play for over 100 years and have 4 games difference between who has the most wins or not without them coming back around. And Coach Thomas is right at this, and he has a little bit of a younger team out there
A lot
today.
of junior sophomores on that team.
So if anything, you expect them to be a step up next year. Give to Arthur. He's around the top. He's to the 40. Picks up a block. Ran to the side. He was blocked down at the 28. And a flag. Well, any exchange of dialogue back or forth will get flagged right away, as this one's out of reach and you want to keep control. It's probably something that if done in the first quarter you don't get a flag on. Yeah, a lot of having played here, coached here, and doing this here, it's like, oh, Vineland, Millville, Vineland, Millville. The only time I really root against Millville is when they're playing us. Yeah, some of my other coaches didn't feel this way, but you know, they're my second favorite team. I just, if we beat them and I need them to lose for something, maybe. But like, look at what this county football has turned into. There's not much going on at Cumberland. Bridgeton had a decent year this year, but
yes.
with the schedule that they have, I mean, it's a different level of play than's being played at Vineland and Millville. And what Vineland and Millville have been through with the scheduling, playing the toughest teams not in South Jersey in the state. You know, both programs have hung in when the county football has died out. Procedure on Vineland. And VPS Broadcasting will be doing the Vineland Parade tonight. I believe that starts at 6. I think it goes parade and football Thanksgiving. We battle for most views. But that is still happening with a lot of social distancing going on. And
Is Roboto Man going to be there this year?
I don't know if he's going. So 1st and 10, Vineland. Give to Blakely, nothing there. He's going to lose 2 or 3.
See the old bushwhacker dance.
Yeah, I've been in the ring with them. Butch and Luke. 5 minutes in running. So, Kyle, how'd you like your first year?
It's been a blast being in the booth. It's a different perspective, and you know, for those of you that know that we do the podcast with Coach Russo, it's really helped, you know, bring content to the podcast as well. And you know, I've been able to watch some of these guys more in depth, and it's been fun kind of following this team this year. They've been a lot of fun to watch.
Gandy swings one incomplete. That's not the only thing on the podcast, too. A lot of Philly sports, covering the whole gambit of it. But without your Coach Russo show, I never would have found you.
Right.
So
it's a demographic that brings everybody in, and you know, a lot of people enjoy the conversations Coach Russo and I have, and you know, he brings a lot to the table that normally you wouldn't get.
Yeah. No, and the gauntlet is calling games alone.
Right.
You know, because your narrative and your feeling gets locked in when you don't have somebody to bounce things off of a lot. I thought you did just an outstanding job covering that. I know how lonely it is in the booth. I've done it a few times. Gandy to throw. He's looking deep. He steps up, floats it, looking for Tony. It's just going to fall incomplete. Yeah, I was doing one when Vineland wasn't that good, and we're getting destroyed, and my whole conversations turned into the PA announcer. You know, he'd give updates around. I'm like, oh, I'm still going with Buna and this and that one, and yeah, it gets a little tough, and it's not as easy as people think. It's better when you have one or two people with you than people can get bored of the way I view football or you view football, and then they're stuck. Nobody would be upset with the way you view football, Terry. I'll leave you alone. 4th down for the Fighting Clan. Could be their last offensive play of the year. It's Gandy back in the shotgun alongside Arthur. There's the pass, and there's a rush. It's picked back up. Gandy cakes it himself. He's got to make somebody miss, and he does. He's trying to get to the 1st down marker and does. Nice run by senior Gandy. Keep Vineland's offense on the field. Just a play like that during one of the last 2 possessions.
Yes.
Does not change the outcome, but changes the outlook.
There is hope we may put some points on the board. Just don't let us get shut out. Those little faults.
And don't sleep. I'm still playing. You know, and that goes a long way. 2:25.
As nothing's changed with Millville, this is still their first-team defense out there.
Well, he made one change and put a backup running back in, and that didn't work out too good. Gandy throws this one high over the head of Tony. And they've not been on the same page today. 2:01 and running. Well, Millville has outplayed my handicap on the game. I think we agreed at 8.5.
Yeah.
8.5 point favorite was Millville, and they've certainly outplayed that and looked fantastic. Congratulations to Millville. Our neighbors to the south.
They showed they are a little more than the screenplay today.
Oh, by far. LeQuint really had a nice game running it. Gandy to throw again, looking to the end zone, and that's going to be out of bounds. As Gandy takes a shot at the end of that. 1:15 and running. Definitely time for one more play, but I don't know about 2, so it's 3rd and 10. Sadly, I was a selfish football player. I'd ask for my guard around now. They're not expecting it. I'd threaten the quarterback. .45 seconds in running. 3rd and 10. High snap. Gandy has it. Tucks it down under. Runs through the middle. Takes a hit. Picks up a 1st down with 32 seconds. Vineland's going to have to hurry to get one more play off and try to break this shutout. You know, when I was coaching, if winning this big, you talked about still the 1st-team defense, and well, still our 1st-team offense.
Yep.
Who's going to blink first? Somebody's going to blink, right? And you're going to do it, then we're going to do it. So a timeout called, so that'll give Vineland this play. I was just most of the time a freshman head coach and playing Millville, and we were killing them like this, and they hadn't scored. We all had our 2s and 3s in. Millville got a 1st and 10, or 1st and goal at like the 8, and they put their 1st team in. So I called timeout, put my 1st team back in, and I got called to the AD's office.
It's chess, not checkers.
I'm like, it's not my job to let them score, and I wouldn't expect Coach Thomas to empty his bench out to make it easier to lose the shutout that they worked really hard for.
Yeah,
they really
definitely
controlled
did.
the Vineland offense.
Vineland's still sitting on one timeout. I'd use it. Hey, get some points on the board at this point. If you don't get it here, you still have another timeout. Use it.
Blakely now the running back. Gandy runs. He's got Manson right at the goal line. Throws it incomplete. See if Vineland uses that timeout with 10 seconds in running. And they do. I'd have to say you're right on the money there, Coach. Or Coach. Right on the money there, Terry.
He said, how long would it take until he did it?
See, Coach Parentazzi, if you're still hanging in, I'm still thinking of you as I'm wrapping up. You know, this is that point where I start to put my papers away all quiet.
It's always been the one thing I never liked about sprint out passing. You cut your field in half. I mean, it has its pluses, it has its minuses. For me, that big minus is you just cut your field in half. So,
and when you do that, and your receiver and quarterback aren't on the same page, like all of them,
today.
not just one guy.
Yes.
But they've not read the moves and made that second move to get open. So it's kind of just been rolling the coverage over on top of you with an extra guy.
Looks like they're going to send out the field goal unit.
Well, that'd be nice.
Try to put some points on the board.
Yeah. Sadly, with the shortened season, you haven't got to use your kicker as much as you like to.
Not often do you get a really good kicker.
No, and this year and the previous years, it's been nice.
So Garton back, lining up for, we're looking at about a 30-yarder here.
30-yarder for Garton, the senior. Snap is down, kick is up,
There's
and
your
good.
positive.
Vineland breaks the shutout. Not only that, Garton gets his field goal, which was going to be a big weapon this year, being able to kick 40-yard field goals. It just hadn't worked out to give him all the opportunities, but a nice job to get that one on the board. Vineland avoids the shutout, but not the day they had in mind. But for Millville, boy, started a little slow, then hit on all cylinders. Terry, what do you have to wrap us up a little bit? Any thoughts you want to share on this or moving forward?
Not a super positive, but we came into the year expecting a lot with that senior offensive line. Say a senior-laden offensive line. It took them a little while, and then with this crazy season, when they really did start firing, as soon as they started firing, we were put out for a couple weeks. So, I mean, Vineland didn't have the year I don't think they expected. However, I still think they showed good face in each of those games, playing some really tough opponents early on.
Kai.
Yeah, and I mean, with a roster composed of a lot of seniors, a great senior group, that's unfortunately going to, this is the final time that this group will be together. They did all they could, and it's going to be interesting to see how Vineland moves forward. With that junior class, Anthony Arthur now going to be, a lead senior next season for them, which is crazy to think of. Seems like yesterday he was just a freshman, and they're going to have another starting quarterback in this Vineland offense that they're going to have to try to figure out. Going to be their fifth starting quarterback in the past couple of seasons, between Isaiah Pacheco, Tyreen Powell, Ryan Shelton, and now you had Gandy this season, another starting quarterback to kind of try to figure this Vineland offense out and move the ball in the passing game, which I think they started to unlock a lot this year with, getting the ball down the field, and now it's just building momentum off of that and, figuring out who these next group of playmakers are going to be with Levi Manson and Jonathan Toney graduating this year.
Yeah, I'd look at it. I've been here a long, long time doing games. And being the second biggest school in South Jersey, there were times where we played lower, middle, the smallest schools trying to rebuild the program. And we've transitioned from that into the schedule that both Vineland and Millville play, which you cannot get it any tougher. And to be able to be competitive in there says a lot about your program. We watched a Mainland team that Vineland played pretty poor against. We end up beating Mainland. But there's a Mainland team that was like 9-1 last year. Ocean City, they had a great year, and they had a really good team. But Williamstown was doing this to them at the end of the first half.
Right.
And not only that, these two county teams, Millville, hands down. I mean, they showed it today, and Millville has beaten Williamstown and St. Augustine Prep. you know, this is some good football. You look at the score and you're like, oh, it was a blowout. And yeah, you can always say why it wasn't. But Millville had their number today and was the better team out there. But the progress that both teams have made to be at this elite competing level, to be in consideration, to be in the top 20 in the state at times, like people thought Millville should have been in the elite playoffs with the 2 wins that they had. And unfortunately for them, they weren't. But congratulations to Millville. You guys have turned around a 4-year run that saw some uninspired football from Millville. And sadly, the passing of Coach Charest, he would be thrilled with today's.
Yes.
Because we would talk at Thanksgiving Day all the time, and it was the lack of passion that bothered him. And they certainly played with it today. They dominated this football game. Congratulations to Millville. We'll be back for Vineland next year. Hopefully we can add another stool and get everybody up in this thing. But thank you very much for helping out Terry and Kyle. Thank you tremendously, and hopefully we do this again next year and stepping up when we couldn't be there.
It's been a pleasure. The 3-man booth, a lot of fun.
Oh, definitely.
Just
And
keep it.
only get better from here.
We look real professional with 3 guys up here.
3 points, 3 guys. Let's get some more people in this thing. So Rich Scarpa for Kyle Bennett and Terry Love. Well, Thanksgiving's over, so at least the turkey won't taste worse for you Vineland fans this year. And thank you to our crew and everyone else. Don't forget, turn this back on tonight. VPS is broadcasting Vineland's Downtown Parade. Have a good one. See ya.